on this first segment, what I wanted to do is just generally talk about what happens when you receive a traffic ticket. So the officer can either serve you the ticket in person where they pull you over, or he can mail you a ticket. So he never actually has to pull you over, and sometimes people don't know when they receive the ticket. So both are options that where you can get the speeding ticket for, or any other infraction. But speeding ticket is the one that I want to focus on, because speeding tickets are the most common and they are considered moving violations. So they are tickets that will go on your record unless, there are some things that you can do about it. On the ticket itself, when you do receive it, there are options. There's an option of contesting your ticket, which means you're saying, I didn't do this, I want a hearing. You mail it to the address provided on the ticket as well, and then the court will send you a court date, and then you go to court, and then you can make your case in front of the judge. The second option is to mitigate it. If you cross that box, you will also get a court date, but you will additionally get information where you can do a mitigation, which means explaining circumstances in writing. So sometimes you don't have to go in person, and in writing you can do it as well, where the judge will read it and then make a decision. Usually mitigation is used for lowering the fine because there are circumstances that you want the judge to know. And then obviously the last option is just to pay for it. That's an option on the ticket, and you mail the payment to the court, or pay in different ways, and it will be handled that way. Some of the things that you should be aware of when you're contesting a ticket or when you're mitigating a ticket. Mitigation means, yes, I did it, so the ticket will go on your record if it's a moving violation. And then when you contest it in court and you lose, it will go on your record. So those are some of the things that you want to keep in mind. It can affect your insurance rate, your driver's license, and your option to drive for some non-commercial companies as well. Two things that are common misconceptions that I wanted to briefly mention. The first one is a lot of people will say, well, the officer didn't show me what he clocked me at. He doesn't have to. So the device that he's using, he doesn't necessarily have to show you what he clocked you at. Just so you know, the machine that he's using is usually the information, whether or not it was used properly, will be provided in the police report. And then the second misconception is people will say, well, everyone else was speeding too. Everyone else was going barely over the speed limit too, or my car was on cruise control. Yes, maybe everybody else was also speeding, but you turned out to be the unlucky person who actually got pulled over. So unfortunately, courts don't necessarily allow that argument to be considered enough for a dismissal in court. Like I said, every case is different, every judge is different, but that's generally that information. And then one last thing that I want to mention is when you get pulled over, obviously be respectful to the officer and provide information that he needs, such as driver's license, insurance, and things like that. But always remember that whatever you say to the officer can be put in the police report. There is a section on the police report that we get where the officer will explain any comments made by the defendant. And, if you said, I'm sorry, or officer, I was going 70, but, the speed limit is actually 60, then that information will be considered sometimes as an admission. And so it makes it more difficult to actually fight the ticket. Other than that, please drive safe. If you have any questions, contact our office. We are available to provide free legal consultations, but also we will happily represent you on a traffic matter and then get you the best possible outcome. Thank you so much, and hopefully we'll see you at the next segment.